evening, everyone. Good to see you out with us tonight. It's been a little while, I just heard it. So, turn my phone off out of respect for the service. So, good to see everybody this evening. Got a good crowd for Wednesday night. Glad to have everybody here. Glad to have Caleb back. I was glad to have him here Sunday. Enjoyed that a whole lot. If you're watching and haven't got a chance to see Sunday's service, go back and watch that if you like music. So we enjoyed that. But anyways, we're still studying on the Sermon on the Mount. We're still talking about the life of Jesus, and we're still on the Sermon on the Mount, and we'll be talking about that today. Still in chapter number 6. But we'll go to the Lord in prayer and get started with our service, okay? I want to ask Brother Hunter, if he will, to kick us off.
Thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Thank you for another day to come out to your house today, God. And thank you for blessing us with one more chance to serve you and do what's right for you, God. Lord, please do this service, and may we do everything to glorify and honor your name and lift up your name and praise, God. I thank you for everybody that takes part in the service. We do Keith, he brings the lesson after a while. God has given the gift of teaching for a little while, God. Just give us the words to say that we can draw closer to you. Lean you out there to say everything we do and say. In Jesus' sweet name and humbly pray. Amen.
Well, good evening. It's good to see each one of you here. If you will, get a church emblem and turn to page 313. Let's sing all 3 verses of I Have Somebody With Me. anybody have one that wants to sing or sing? What? Hunter to sing it? They're tuning numbers. Hunter, she's gonna let you sing, Be Not Afraid. Joy is on that. That's what I thought that was.
You have to practice it.
Tuning up and practicing. anyone else have a song? Okay, let's get a church hymn and sing, praise hymn, 151, let's sing all three verses of the praise hymn. For keys comes to D.
Everybody's had a good week so far. Doing good. Matthew chapter number 6 is where we'll be. Matthew chapter number 6, verse number 15. As you can recall, we've been on the Sermon on the Mount, and the stuff that we have been studying is all inward stuff. The Lord don't focus on the outward. It's all about the inward. And the Pharisees were all about the outward. And Jesus didn't worry about the outward. He worried about the inward. And can I just say this? If America today would stop and stand back and do that very thing, and quit looking outward and start looking inward, then I think America would be in a better place to live. But we're so focused on the outward stuff, outward appearance, outward different things, that we forget to look on the inside. And the inside is what Jesus is interested in. It's not the package, it's not the package it's packed in, but it's what the present is on the inside. And of course that would be our soul. And so it would be kind of like on Christmas morning, if you got the biggest let me go back to this one here. Let me give you a Jerry Cloud, I believe it was. And he said this fellow was always stealing his lunch, so he'd go around picking up all the lunch bags and see which one was the heaviest, and whichever one was the heaviest, that's the lunch he would take. The bully kid would. So Jerry Cloud said, one day I fixed my lunch, and he'd come out and picked up all of them, and he grabbed mine because mine was the heaviest. And he said when he got over there and opened it up and looked, he said he had 2 hickory nuts and a claw hammer. So it ain't all about the outside, it's what the inside contains. The inside's where what you want. And that's the way God is, Jesus is. And that's what he's trying to teach these folks, the disciples, the multitude, the apostles. And we need to learn from God, from Jesus, and we too need to look inwardly and not outwardly. So with that said, let's get right into it. Verse number 15 of chapter number 6, Jesus said, but if you forgive not, we already did that last week. It's verse number 16 of chapter number 6. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, and that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have the reward. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head, and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. If you remember, we read almost that same sentence over here in verse number 6. Lord Jesus, I do love you, and I thank you for all you do for us. Thank you for this lesson that we're going through on the Sermon on the Mount, and help me, and help us as a church to look inwardly, not look outwardly, and help this nation to start looking inwardly, not looking outwardly at skin color or political parties, but we need to look inwardly at the person, because that's who you died for. You died for everybody, and not just one particular people, but you said for whosoever, and I'm glad that included everybody. And thank you, Jesus, for that. Help us as we go through this evening's service and this evening's lesson. Bring back to me all that I've studied, and give me something new and fresh. And I ask that you would give me the gift of teaching just for a little while, and help us open our hearts and our minds as we open our Bibles and read your precious word. In Jesus' wonderful and precious holy name we do pray, and all God's children said, Amen. All right, so we're going to start here. I'm going to try to get through verse number 24 if time permitting. I'll keep a watch on it here, and if because we can stop it. It's got like 3 sections, so we can stop it at either one of the sections. But I don't have any notes to give you or anything like that. So you got what I got, and that's the word of God. But he said, moreover, when you fast, be not as the hypocrites are. So first thing, let's just get it out and open here. What is fasting? What is fasting? Well, the Hebrews, the Jews, considered fasting a physical thing you do, and it was from abstaining from eating or getting nourishment that you need. And so they would fast, and the only commandment or the only time that was ever said that you need to fast was at the Day of Atonement, and that was, when they went in and you give your sacrifice, and it was once a year. That was the only time really mentioned that the Jewish people needed to fast. But you remember how the Pharisees were. They said, well, if we're supposed to fast once a year, we'll just show them we'll fast twice a week. So they would fast normally on Tuesday and on Thursday. And now they didn't do it in secret, they didn't do it in private, but they would, and when you fast, you don't really drink water. It depends on how long your fasting is, okay? There's different types of, and I'm not going to get into great depths on that, but that's a whole nother study. But if it's just like a day-long fast or something, then you're pretty much cut out everything, because you can go, 24 hours without anything really. And then they would, of course, their lips would look parched, and they wouldn't wash, and they wouldn't, do nothing, and they just looked awful and pitiful, how you can imagine somebody that's sickly or something, how they would look, instead of cleaning up and getting ready to go, they would look different. And they did that for the purpose of people seeing them and seeing, hey, there's one of them Pharisee guys. Look at that, they're fasting today. Oh yeah, today's Tuesday, and they're fasting. Boy, I wish I could be like them. And that's kind of what they wanted to do. That was their goal. They wanted to be seen with people. They wasn't doing it for God. They weren't doing it for Jesus. They were doing it to be seen. And now fasting itself, let me carry you there just for a second. That's one type of fast, is for a day. I've never done, as you can tell, I've never done too much fasting as far as food goes. I've done it a few times on critical points in my life. And usually, like I said, it's a 24-hour from midnight to midnight, and that's personal. You can do from 6 to 6, whatever you want to do. That's between you and the Lord. Don't tell me about it, you'll learn it, okay? But it's up to you if you want to do that. Now, some people fast for several days, and then when you do that, you can have stuff, maybe like grape juice or grapefruit juice or something with a little nourishment in it to keep yourself going. And then there's one that I've done before too, that is fasting from stuff. I think I've said this before, but the first revival I ever preached, I was just a young feller, wasn't much older than Hunter, just a few years older than Hunter, and I was asked to preach a revival, and I hadn't been preaching long, and I was scared to death. So that week before, this is before cell phones, okay, that week before, I cut out any outside communication with anything other than, I would use the phone, but it was specifically to make a phone call or had to do with my job or something like that. I didn't watch news, I didn't watch TV, I fasted from Andy Griffin, all that stuff. I didn't watch it. If I went somewhere where it was, I just looked the other way, And I did that for a solid week, and the purpose I did that was so I could get my mind clear. I didn't want to hear about the riots and the COVID, you know what I'm saying, if it were today. I wanted to get my mind clear. I didn't look at magazines, nothing like that, just solely the Word of God to prepare my heart for the revival coming up. That's another kind of fasting, It don't have to be just food thing. But again, that's between you and God, okay? You work that out between you and however you feel to do that. But the purpose of fasting is for, what's that word? Self something.
Discipline.
Discipline, that's right, self-discipline. And you, I know I should have wrote something down. When you cut off, what does that mean? What's another word for cutting off? You deprive. There we go. You're depriving yourself of something that your body wants. That's what you're doing. Because who in this building wants to do for your body and your wants more than you? See? And we're in that society where it is that if I want something, I go get it. I won't have to wait anymore. We can finance everything from washing machines to mattresses to whatever you want to finance. You know, I mean, you get it right now. You don't have to wait for it. And so our society has built us up as to people of not depriving ourselves, because we work hard for our money, don't we? And we deserve the best, don't we? We deserve those new toys, or those new games, or those new shoes, or those new boots, or that new gun, or fishing pole, or whatever it is. We work hard. That's what we want. And we're gonna get it. That's the society we live in. There is no discipline. Just think about it. I say, oh man, I'm not preaching to you guys. I'm preaching to me too. If we get hungry at lunch, well, the biggest debate is what to eat. Not if we're going to eat, but what to eat. We want McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, pizza. You know what I'm saying? But that's the society we live in. And I'm not saying there's stuff wrong with that stuff. But I'm saying that's our culture, that's how we live. So when we fast, that's cutting that off, something, okay, whatever it is. You cut something off and say, I'm not doing that. My body wants that today, but my brain says no. My heart says no, because I want to focus on Him. And we cut ourselves off and therefore become disciplined. See, that's the whole purpose of fasting, is to become disciplined. And then when you get in that mindset, and every time your mind wants a cheeseburger, then you think, oh, and then you immediately turn to God. Lord, help take this craving away. Help me, and then pray about whatever problem or need you're praying about. You see, or anything that it is. And that's the purpose of fasting, is to grow closer to God, to seek Him, to put, and the reason that food is the main thing is because food is what keeps us alive. See, we can go for years without Diet Coke. I mean, we can cut that off and still live fine. But you can't go years without food. So basically what you're doing is you're telling God, God, I'm cutting off the supply to my life till I hear from you. And that's the point you come to. Just like He did for you. I'm giving my life. I'm stopping my life so that you can live. And that's kind of where we get, or that's why we fast. We're cutting off our nourishment. We're cutting off our life, really, to seek Him and to find His answer, to seek His Word and His truth. Okay? So moving right along. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, moving right along. So it says, moreover, when you fast, don't be as the hypocrites are, for a sad countenance. So you don't walk around going, boy, I'd like to have a cheeseburger today, but I can't because I'm fasting and I'm praying and I can't have one. But boy, that looks good what you're eating. You know, that's what the hypocrites do. Don't do that. Remember, that's outside. What is he focused on? The inside. So what does he say? And he says, verily they have the reward. He says, but thou, when thou fastest, anoint thy head, wash thy face. That means get up, get out of bed, get ready, put on a little perfume and deodorant so you don't smell like you're fasting. And put some glow on your face, comb your hair, run a comb through it, get the cockaburrs out of it, and get out in public and act like there ain't nothing wrong with you. And be happy to be there, so that nobody knows what's going on between you and God. Because it's a personal thing. It's not a public thing. He says, but when he says, anoint thine head with oil and wash thy face, And we don't do that, you know, anymore. We don't put oil all over us and all that stuff, but you know, we do put perfume and wash and all that. He says that thou appear unto men, that thou not appear unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which is in secret shall reward thee openly. So you don't go around telling folks you're hungry. You don't go around with a pity party. It's all between, they shouldn't nobody know. Now, your spouse may have to know, because you could cause World War III if you don't eat what's cooked. Okay? So what's wrong with you? Why ain't you eating my groceries? You know, so you may have to tell that, but ain't husband and wife one flesh anyway? Huh? Remember, that was a couple lessons back. But what I'm saying is, don't tell everybody. It's between you and God. Okay? Moving right on. So, then he'll reward thee openly. You pray in secret, you fast in secret, all this stuff, and don't tell anybody. It's just between you and God. Seek him, and then he'll reward thee openly. Verse number 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. You realize we've got that same problem today? The same problem that they had in verse 19, we have today. You ever heard of mothballs? Put them in your closet to keep the moths out. Where moth and rust doth corrupt. You ever seen a Chevrolet truck? Oh. Seriously though, you gotta remember, and I'm not picking for a Chevrolet, but you remember back in the 80s, them square bodies, man, the whole side of them rust out, you know. That was just a trait of them, just them particular models there. But anyway, but rust happens. They had rust back then. Their hose and stuff, they were made out of iron, and you know, and they would rust and corrode. We got the same problem, but today we got WD-40. It's the rust preventative. And it says, and where thieves break through and steal. I think we still got that today, don't we? But now we got mechanical door locks, and we got security alarms and that sort of thing. So the problem has not changed. It's just modern technology has prevented some of this. Lay not up for yourselves for treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. And then he says this, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt. Does that mean Chevrolets are not going to be in heaven? The most square bodies that I like so with it. 87 model, that's my dream, you know. Four-wheel drive 87. Won't have no Chevrolets in heaven. It says, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through and steal. Now we could reference that to where it says no adulterers or drunkards or thieves or idolaters or, you know, will be in heaven. Why? Because there's not going to be sin there. You can leave your mansion door unlocked when you get there. You don't have to worry about it. And why does he say that? Laying up, he says, lay not up for your treasures. Now, listen, we all, and he's not saying not prepare for the future. He's not saying don't plan on retirement. He's not saying don't have a 401k or a bank account or something like that for the future. He's not saying that at all. What he's saying is your treasure. What's your treasure? That's the question. What is your treasure? Is your treasure your money? Or is your treasure your family? Remember, the only thing I told you, I said, outside of your deeds, your rewards, the only earthly possession that you can see, feel, or touch, you can take to heaven with you, is your family, your children, your family. That's it. Nothing else goes. And that's what he's talking about. But where's your treasure? What's the dearest to your heart? Is it your money or your bank account or your retirement? Or is it those treasures money can't buy? You see, that's what he's talking about. He said, so lay up your treasures in heaven. Your rewards are in heaven. Those good deeds, those good works we talked about, not doing the good deeds in front of people, but doing them in secret, and he'll reward thee. Where's that reward going to be laid? In the bank of heaven. When you fast and you pray to God, where's that going to be? Remember when we were talking in Revelation and he said prayers of all the saints, or the prayers of the saints were poured out upon the altar and the incense? That's what's in heaven, our prayers. That sort of thing. Lay up your treasure in heaven, not on earth, because this earth, I don't care what you got, if you can touch, smell, or feel it other than your family, and then that's going to be changed in a glorified body. It won't last. It won't last at all. Some of y'all may have your parents or grandparents and may have an old home place, they call it, and now the weeds are growing up, or something's taken over, or the old truck don't run like it used to, or the tractor, you can't really get it started, it don't work good. That stuff's not going to last anyway. But he says, lay your treasure up in heaven, where there's no pest, where there's no rust, nothing will decay, and there's no thieves to take it from you. But on earth, all those things, it could be taken. I remember, speaking of that, I had a Chevrolet truck. They got stolen out of the backyard. It got taken from me. Not only did it rust, it got stolen. So I'm strike 2 out of those 3. That was way back when. But praise God, in heaven, when I put my treasures in heaven, when I put you folks, can I just say this? You folks are my treasures. My church is my treasure. Not this building, because the building's going to go away. But the people in this building are my treasures. And that's why I want to see God in heaven. Because watch what he says. He says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. I want my heart to be in heaven. See, it's an inward thing, not an outward. Outward, we can see our vehicles, we can see the building, we can see all this stuff. But inwardly, where our treasure is, there our heart will be also. My heart longs to be in heaven, where my treasures are, and where my family's going to be, and my friends and the church family. So, he says, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. In verse number 22, so that's kind of the second part, 16 through 18, then 19 through 21, and then now the last part. He said, the light of the body is the eye. And he said, therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body. He said, if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Now, what does that mean? It means you gotta just have one eye. You know, it don't mean that. And it's kind of tricky there. And if you have a different version, yours may read different. But the word single there actually means whole. It means if your eye's whole, or if your eye's pure, or if your eye's good, is what that means. So it means if with your eye's whole, if you only look at good things, if you only look at the right things, and remember, because we've already talked about, he's already covered the lust of the flesh. Okay? So he said, if your eye's whole, and you only look at the right things, then he said, then your whole body shall be full of light. And then he goes on to say in verse 23, but if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. Means if your eye looks at bad stuff, if your eye looks at the wrong things, lust after the wrong things, then your whole body, notice that, The eye is one entrance in to this whole body. I mean, I don't know percentage wise, but it's way down there on percentage wise of my eye compared to my whole body. But that's where everything enters visually, is right here. Those two little round circles. That's it. It enters in visually, nowhere else. He says, if your eye is good, if you look on good things, then you'll be full of light. If you look on evil things, you'll be full of darkness. And it goes, I mean, you could go down several roads there with illustrations, but sometimes the things we look at just consume us. And we've got to look at the right things and focus on the right things. Because if we focus on the wrong things, then we're going to be full of, will lead to sin. And it's not just lust right there. It could be all kinds, could be material things. If your eye wants material things, and that's where your treasure is, and that's what you want, and then he's saying, then you'll be full of evil, which will produce, your money will disappear and all that good stuff. And we gotta have money to live. I hate money. I hate money more than anything on planet Earth. I do. I hate it. If I didn't have to have it, I wouldn't have it. If I could go back to the old days and barter, I'll help you if you help me kind of deal. I'd love that. I hate money. But we gotta have it to get by. And it's just funny money anyway. I mean, the bank says I got this many numbers, and then the power company, they want this many numbers from this many numbers, and you never see it. It's just funny money, Anyway, that's a whole other story. We'll get into that when we talk about marketplace. Buying, selling, trade, currency. Yeah, you been to the dollar store lately? It says if you don't use exact change, they use a card or something because there's a national shortage on currency. Also, I believe it was Walmart, wasn't it? Of course, I don't go to Walmart. It happened before this happened. I don't mean to start now. Anyway, it said a little sign there that said, money's dirty, so you use plastic or check or something like that. Don't want your money. It's all going on. Literally, I'm not kidding. Yeah, because money's not real dirty, supposedly. What do you think about how many hands it touches and all that and stuff, But, hey, it's all going there. I didn't mean to run that rabbit, but anyway. There's something down in the hole I'm going after. So, all right. You need to stick your jaw in your mouth. That's what Ernest D. Bass said. Get your stick jaw in your mouth and see a possum hole. Okay, we jogged that in plenty. Verse number 24. So anyway, talking about the eye. Be careful about what you look at. Look at good stuff, make your eyes whole, then you'll have light in your body. You look at wrong stuff, and fill in the blank right there, whatever your temptation is, whatever you think put it this way, whatever causes a barrier between you and Jesus, that's what you got to watch out about, okay? And you know what it is, and guess who else knows what it is? Satan knows what it is. All right, so verse 24 real quick. No man, now notice that, who does that mean? Nobody, right? Nobody. Was that no man that was just listening in that crowd? No. Does it mean no man that was just in the just in the New Testament, the apostles and the disciples and them? Is that what that means? No. No man means nobody. No man can serve two masters. For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. So, let me ask you this. Let's go back to when we first started this lesson, we were talking about our world we live in today. And I'm in it, okay? I'm no exception. I get up in the morning, I put my clothes on that I bought, I paid for. I get up in a house that I'm paying for. If you got your house paid for, then hallelujah, praise Jesus. You know, I'll have mine on in a few years. I mean, they'll be out and gone, but I'll be having paid off one of these days and when this Lord comes back. So I get up in a house that I owe for. I go get in a car that I owe for. And I go to a job and I work 9 hours a day. And I come home when I'm tired. Come back to that home that I owe for. And I drove coming back in the car I owe for. To go into a house I owe for. To fill the air conditioner that I gotta pay for. That's why I gotta go to my job. You see the cycle? Why do we do that? It's the world we live in. No wonder people wants to go off grid and have an outhouse and a generator. It's almost like a dog chasing its tail, really. If you really just think about it. It's like I get up and I go and I do the same thing every single day. And eventually, maybe eventually, if I don't die or the Lord come back, then I'll get it paid for. Hopefully by my retirement, that's kind of how it's worked out. And hopefully by my retirement, then I can have it paid for. Retire happy, maybe. But as soon as my little eye sees a different vehicle, I want it. Then I'll trade that one in to get me something else that I got to pay for. You see, and it's just like a dog, just circling. But that's the society we live in. So what he's saying here is, you can't, so let me say this, what he's talking about, you can't serve two masters. What if I become a servant, a bondsman to the people I owe? Because if I don't pay that, guess what's going to happen? They're going to come and get it, or they're going to send me a paper and say, you don't own that house no more. That's how it is. No matter how much I paid on it, I'm a bond servant to these folks. So in a sense, listen now, in a sense, it's kind of a master-slave relationship. Think about it. I work to pay somebody else. That's where we're living. Now, let me give you this on the good side. So that's one master. And a lot of us serve that master. But there's another master. And his name's Jesus. You think, wait a minute, no, you're crazy. Think about it. The bank bought my house. They paid the contractors, they paid the roofers, they paid all those people, so now they have possession of my home. But I work for them. Jesus bought my soul. And now he owns me. And by that, I work for him. See? It's a master-bondsman relationship. Although it's not a bad relationship as we think, as in slavery type stuff, it's not that at all. I do it because I'm grateful. I do it because I want to. I do it because I love him. I do it because without him, where else do I go? I serve my mortgage company because I want a roof over my head. And that roof one day will go away. And the house will be gone. My car one day will get too many miles and fall apart in the road. But yet I work for them every day. But what I got for Jesus, that's my treasure laid up in heaven. Earth, moth, or rust, the thieves can't break through and steal. And therefore I'm willing and happily do I serve him every single day. And I want to serve him every single day. He says no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or hold to the one and despise the other. So here's my deal. I don't hate my mortgage company in that sense, but I don't like the whole deal. You know, I don't like it, but I gotta have a place to live, so, you know, hey, that's what it is. That's the world we live in. But I like the relationship I'm in with Jesus. So you can say this, I hate the one, because I don't know about you, but I don't like getting out of bed and going to work every day. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I ain't keeping nothing from you. I hate that relationship. Although I like the benefits, I hate the relationship. But I love the relationship between me and Jesus. My master. He's my master. And he said, you're going to love the one and hate the other. He said, you cannot serve God and mammon. And the word mammon there is translated to be treasure or riches. So we said, you can't have both. You can't, there's no way that you can physically love your treasures on earth and love him too. Because it's not possible. You got to either pick one or the other. Now, you might love treasures a little bit and love God more, or you may love treasures a lot and love God a little bit, but you cannot love them equally. That's what he said. I didn't say it. So the thing is, you got to pick which master do you want to serve, him or them. That's what it boils down to. And it's all about the inward. Remember? It's all about the inward. Which one does my heart long for? Which one does my heart want to serve? Hope you got something out of this evening. I know it's helped me to put things in perspective and think, wow, you know, yeah. And I'll be honest, I'll stand here and raise my right hand. Okay. I'll raise my right hand. I fell into that trap in my lifetime. There's a time in my life where I wanted all I could get. And I didn't care to work for it. And I wanted and wanted and wanted. It was a dark time in my life. A time I wish I could do over. But I wanted stuff more than him. And I'm glad that I came to my senses and realized I want him more than stuff. And if they come and get my house, so be it. If they come and get my car, so be it. I still love him more than anything. He's the one I serve. Amen. Love you, Jesus. I love you, Master. You are my Master. You're the Master of the sea. You're the Master of my life. I owe you everything that I am. I owe you everything that I will ever be. I owe it all to you. Because you bought me with a price. And that price was your precious blood on Calvary. Lord, help me to reevaluate my life as I have in the past, but help me tweak it a little bit. And help me realize that you're all I need. mansions, because I've already got one of those that's waiting on me. Well, like Paul said, for what he said, I found out that for whatever state I'm in, therewith to be content. Lord, help us all to be more content with what we have. Lord, and put you first. But on the other hand, I want to thank you for giving me treasures here on earth. I want to thank you for my home. I want to thank you for my car. I want to thank you for my air conditioner. Because you're my master and you let me have those. You let me borrow those, excuse me. Thank you for that. Because I know everything comes from you. Thank you for giving me strength that I can go each day and pay for those. Lord, I love you. Help me to always be focused and always be in the right mindset. And help me to put my treasures up in heaven and not up on earth. And I thank you for all you do for us. In Jesus' wonderful, precious, and holy name we do pray. And all God's children say it.
Amen.
Amen. All right. George, back here on Sunday morning, we'll be talking about, I believe it's Revelation 10 we're in.